Do we need 4,700 milligrams of potassium? Or how about 3,000? Or what about even 800 to 1,000? What makes more sense? And this is important because you need potassium on any diet that's low carb. Welcome everyone to my very humble life, because I live in a camper and I'm building a house and I'm teaching you about potassium. So let's get right on into it. 4,700 milligrams of potassium. Are they freaking cuckoo? Who in their right mind can get 4,700 milligrams of potassium? Because a medium Hass avocado only has about 400 milligrams. And it's not very easy to get the big Mexican avocados that are closer to 800 or 900 milligrams of potassium, which then you'd need over 4 of them a day to reach your potassium requirements. Now, if you had some meat, you might get like 140 from that. Where are they getting 4,700 milligrams of potassium? Oh, the National Institute of Nutrition or something like that came up with this. You know why? Because they put salt in everything. Salt in bacon, salt in crackers, salt in bread, salt in cookies, salt in your processed foods and your pastas and your this. Everything that you grab off the shelf has a ton of salt in it. Not that salt is bad, salt's amazing. But then you're cooking with salt and then you're just adding salt. So that's where they came up with that ridiculous number. Because to get 4,700 milligrams of potassium, you would have to do something absurd and unrealistic as eating huge avocados if you were trying to get them from nature. Or cantaloupe or oranges. And not everybody can get that. And you're definitely not going to get it seasonally. I mean, we're right above Mexico, living in the US, so you can kind of get some of these things. Or when I lived in California. But fruits and vegetables grow seasonally. So what are these ding-dongs thinking? I have people arguing with me about the amounts of potassium, but they're not factoring in this number came into play because people eat so much of a salt high diet that you have to balance sodium with potassium. So let's raise the potassium to some ungodly amount that's unrealistic and give you tons of histamine responses because your salt's high. No, that's not the solution. It's to drop your salt to around 5 grams, which I believe is like 20 something, 28 or 25, 28,000 milligrams of sodium is about a teaspoon of salt to a Hass avocado. And then some meat. That'll give you enough. You need about 800 to 1,000 if you're doing keto or low carb. If you're doing processed foods, you're just going to be screwed no matter what, because nobody should be eating or consuming that much salt nor that much potassium. No one's going to have it balanced on a processed food diet. But if you're doing carnivore, low carb, high fat, snake diet, lion diet, carnivore diet, all them stupid diets, even fasting nonsense, you have to really look at your sodium and potassium intake. People have heard me say take 800 milligrams to 1,000. Then they get these supplements and start taking 800 milligrams to 1,000 of supplemental potassium. No. That's 800 to 1,000 from food, not from supplements. Because all of that potassium, that mineral, can agitate your liver and your kidneys. So you can only go as high as, and it depends on what type, 400. If you're doing chloride, which is toxic, you can only do 99. And they only have them in 99 milligram supplements because of the toxic level. You guys, it's not quantum physics. It's quite easy to understand these things once you take pause and make it make sense. 400 milligrams of potassium, I would prefer that everybody got it from food. But if you're going to take supplemental from citrate or bicarbonate or gluconate, those are your options, not chloride, which you find in the keto chows and the Element, all these stupid companies that try to do the cheapest potassium. Yeah. So getting 800 to 1,000, that's doable. That is doable with 5 grams of salt throughout the day. So you could do avocados, and you can do some seafood, and you can have a little bit in salt and in meat and in some vegetables like spinach once a year. I mean, we're not going to do cantaloupe and oranges and all this stuff that they recommend. Basically, meat stock broth is a great idea because you can liberate the potassium from, I didn't say bone broth, meat broth. You can liberate the potassium from the meat into the water and drink copious amounts of that without overdoing the protein. If you are potassium deficient, you're going to know it. You're going to feel heart palps, muscle twitching, tired. A lot of people think they're having anxiety or they're having this rapid heartbeat because of their potassium issues. They'll have day cramps and facial twitching. Night cramps tend to be more magnesium with the little spice of potassium deficiency. But don't overdo the salt because you'll slam down the potassium. Don't do the potassium too high because you'll slam down the sodium and you'll feel dehydrated. Then you drink too much water and you dilute everything. And that's my dog outside barking. Should probably go check. But let's finish up this video. Think about hunter-gatherers. Would they get sweet potato and cantaloupe and oranges? No, they wouldn't. So why are these ding-dongs online recommending the weirdest amounts of potassium and people are feeling sick? Remember, on a keto or carnivore diet or snake or lion or whatever it is or fasting, you drop a lot of fluid, and with that you lose minerals. So you're way more susceptible to becoming dehydrated and losing your sodium potassium balance. That's why you got to be on it to do it right. Do not mess with this. Do not underdrink or overdrink water. Do not skip out on your potassium. If you can't tolerate avocados, you need to find a supplement where you don't react to that's safe on your organs and balance it. Yeah. And don't overdo the salt. That people are salt. Do not overdo the salt. It does matter. In the beginning, Steve Finney and Jeff Bullock were like, oh, you can have copious amounts of salt. No, you can't, because you have to balance it with potassium. And it's hard to get potassium from your food, especially today. Yes. And keep your stress down because that will literally drain you of sodium. And get your electrolytes out of balance when you're stressed out and don't sleep well. If you sweat a lot, then you might drink more water and you might up your salt a little bit. But other than that, you don't need to overdo the salt, past a teaspoon or ish, and overdrink water, 64 to 84 ounces, unless you're a tall guy sweating, doing sports, or a hot day in Texas like I used to suffer, over 100 degrees every day. You would drink more and then balance your electrolytes. Use the broth as a way to drink some of the potassium in with the sodium. That's a great electrolyte drink, not that powdered garbage. Comment below. Are you struggling with your electrolytes? Are you confused? Do gurus say you can just get everything from meat and salt? Because they're lying. Or they just kind of... They were dropped on their head as a child. I'm trying to be nice because you guys don't like it when I get, 57-ish. That's what you do when you hit 57. You have no filter. Yeah. Comment below. Share this content. My Instagram is Stephanie Ketogenic. My Facebook fan page is Stephanie the Business Person. I'm rushing because it's too beautiful out to sit in this camper a second more on a winter day in Tennessee. I run a course where I cover all 3 diets and I go more in depth over these details like electrolytes and blood sugar and menstrual issues and hormone issues and HRTs and exercise. And I'm out because I got some crazy energy. Because I'm getting to bed earlier. And my house is getting done. I know. Maybe I'll show you guys a little clip of what's going on in the house. And I'm out. Peace. Just a clip.
We got 4 up there. Like 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4.